Hey everybody, my name is Darren Hyatt. Those of you who don't know me, welcome to my training for Expert Secrets. Now this Expert Secrets book is, you could tie it into a lot of niches. Tonight I'm kind of mirroring Expert Secrets with affiliate marketing. And Expert Secrets, the underground playbook for converting your online visitors into a lifelong customer by Russell Brunson. Now this book, let's start out, ask you a question. Do you feel like you're missing something? I don't think there's one person out there that thinks, what am I missing to get over that hump, to get to my goal, to hit $1 million in my business, to hit a $500 in my business, or hit $100 in my business? You feel like, what am I missing? I'm doing everything my mentor, my guru is telling me. I went through that 10-step course, to help you build an affiliate network business. You feel like you're missing. I believe this book has your 99% sure this book has your answer in it. You just need to read it, sit down. A lot of us hate reading. I hate reading. Now I read the book Expert Secrets, the first one. Now this is one that Russell redid, and then I'm now reading it, and I thought it'd be cool if I put these on my channel. So we're on number 10 video, and we've been through the 5 phases of becoming. We talked about the 5 phases of becoming an expert. Be a dreamer, become a reporter, framework creator, and how to serve your niche, and also to lead people, to become an expert guide, to be a contributor. Now we're talking about now we've learned how to do that. We've learned what to do that for your niche. Now we're going to talk about how to find your voice. Now we talked about the first step last week, which was the last part of Expert Secrets on finding your voice. And the first part, the first part of finding your voice first starts out, who do you need to become as a leader? Now, then we talk about step 1 would be publish daily for at least a year. Publish your journey. Now, this next step we're going to talk about tonight is to document your journey. Now, I'm going to read you an article by Gary Vee. And first, it's going to start out by Russell Brunson, and he says it starts out, document the journey. The biggest question and the largest fear that most people have when I tell them to start their own show is they have no idea what they will talk about. One of the most powerful things I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you guys don't know who Gary Vee is, you better Google it, because this guy is very successful. And anyway, I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk is a concept he calls document, don't create. I have reposted an article from his blog which goes deeper into this concept. Now this is Gary Vee talking here. I'm going to go ahead and read this. If you want people to start listening to you, you have to show up. What I mean by this is there's a lot of you out there who aren't producing enough articles or videos or pieces of content to build your influence. Too many content creators think that only have one at bat. They have to make the one most beautifully created video or image or rant on Facebook. But what they don't realize is that their hunger to make the perfect piece of content is what actually crippling them. It's true that if you want to be seen or heard or social media, you have to put out valuable content on a regular basis. You should be doing a YouTube vlog or podcast or some sort of long form audio video series at least once a week. You should be posting on Instagram and or Snapchat stories at least 6 to 7 times a day. Now you're probably thinking, whoa, that's a lot. How do I create 6 to 7 meaningful things a day? I'll give you the biggest tip when it comes to content creation. Document, don't create. In very simple terms, documenting versus creating is what the real world and Keeping Up with the Kardashians are to Star Wars and Friends. And don't get confused. Just because you're documenting doesn't mean you're not creating content. It's just a version of creating that is predicated more on a practicality instead of having to think of stories or fantasy. Something that's very hard for most of us people, including myself. And then he says, think about it. You can ponder about the strategy behind every post and fabricate yourself into the influential person. Or you can just be yourself. Creating the influential persona might seem especially hard if you're just someone starting to climb the ladder. And I get it. For some of you, there are a lot of pressure in that. You think that some 30 or 40 or 50-year-old is going to listen to your rant video and cynicism and think, what does this kid know? But one of the biggest mistakes people make when creating content for their persona brand, trying to oversell themselves because they think that's what's going to get people's attention. Whether you're a business coach or motivational speaker or artist, I think it's much more fruitful to talk about your process than about the actual advice you think you should be giving them. Documenting your journey versus creating an image of yourself is the difference between saying you should versus my intuition says get it. It changes everything. I believe that the people who are willing to discuss their journey instead of trying to front themselves as the next big thing are going to win. So when I say to put out those 6 to 7 meaningful pieces of content a day, just pick up your smartphone, open Facebook Live, and just start talking about the things most important to you. Because in the end, the creative or how beautiful someone thinks your content is going to be subjective. What's not subjective is the fact that you need to start putting yourself out there and keep swinging. Starting is the most important and the biggest hurdle that most people are facing. They're pondering and strategizing instead of making. They're debating what's going to happen when they haven't looked at what's in front of them. So do me a favor and start documenting. Okay, I started, Gary. Now what? Keep doing it for another 5 years and then come back to me before you ask again. That's Gary V for you. And Russell goes on to say people who are tuning in to your show are doing it typically because they're looking for some type of result. It's the same reason they buy your products. Open your emails and engage with your content. People listen to my podcast. Now this is Russell talking. Read my books and watch my videos because they're trying to figure out more ways to market their business. I'm not publishing because I know everything about this topic. I'm publishing because I'm obsessed with this topic. I'm in a constant search for new and better ways to market my own company. As I run across them, I have ideas, read cool things, I'm sharing them with my people. As my friend Rich Sharfin once told me, we get paid a lot to think for other people. So my first question for you as you start your show is, what is the big result that you're obsessed with? What you are trying to learn for yourself. Anyway, that you can document as you're discovering it in real time. When you listen to the introduction to my podcast, I'll call what the biggest question is that I'm answering on my show. And he says, so the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs like us who didn't cheat and take on venture capital, who are spending money from our own pocket, how do we market in a way that lets us get our products and services and the thing that we believe in out of the world, yet still remain profitable? That is the question. In this podcast, we'll give you the answers. My name is Russell Brunson, and welcome to Marketing Secret Podcast. Inside that frame, I can talk about, share, and interview experts on anything related to helping people sell or more things they believe in. As I mentioned earlier, I started the podcast on the back of a huge business failure. Most people would have thought it was the worst time ever to start a podcast, let alone one big marketing business. But looking at it through the document don't create lens reveals that it was the perfect time to start the podcast. In fact, I wish I would have started it 10 years earlier when I first got online, because I would have many more interesting things to share as I was learning them for the first time. In any case, how cool is it now, 6 years later, that I have documented an entire journey from the business failure to growing ClickFunnels to a company generating more than 100 million per year, hence Russell Brunson Expert Secrets. Even more important, hundreds of thousands of people have been able to follow us on the journey and learn lessons as I was learning them. Guys, that's the end of step 2. And the next week, we're going to talk about testing your material. So on a recap, guys, what I got from that is start. You got to begin and start, no matter the situation. Where you're at, you need to be yourself. Don't worry about the bling and the being somebody you're not. Just be yourself. And everybody, one thing that comes to my mind is that if you be yourself, and everybody wants, 99% of people want to make a living, either be home with their family. And if you just start somewhere and teach somebody, stay one step ahead to where you're at now. How do you start an affiliate network marketing business? That's your first video. Like we talked about the first 9 videos about becoming a dreamer, then reporter, and creating that framework for what you're going to teach. Then start teaching it. At first you're going to suck. By the time when you get better, you'll float to the top. And so begin now. What platform are you going to start your show? So guys, next week that was document your journey, and we're going to talk about phase 3, testing your material. And this, you take everything you learned and you've already figured out you want to who you're teaching, and time to test it. And this one's going to be interesting. And after that, we get through finding your voice, it gets even better. I'm going to be excited about the part when we talk about telling your story. But anyway, guys, I'm excited about this. Stick with me, and thank you for liking and subscribing so I could bring more cool stuff. And welcome to my journey, and onward and forward, right? And we got to suck to get better, and the taking action is the perfect action. So guys, those of you I'm hoping this will help you start taking action. But anyway, guys, we'll see you on the next video or in a review, and God bless.